Thanks for watching. I'm Margot Kinberg, and this is In the Spotlight, a closer look at a crime novel. Literary connections and literary references can add an interesting dimension to a crime novel, and it's especially inviting for readers who've read the books or are planning to read the books. Makes an interesting tie-in. Let's take a look at how that works today and turn to the spotlight for today on Katherine Bolger Hyde's Arsenic with Austen. Emily Kavanaugh is a widowed college professor based in Portland, Oregon. The academic life suits her, but she misses her husband Philip terribly, and she's ready for a change anyway. Then she gets an unexpected letter from a law firm. It seems that Emily's great-aunt Beatrice Runcible has passed away and named her as co-executor of the will. Not only that, but she's inherited much of Aunt Beatrice's fortune. Emily decides to spend some time in her aunt's home in the small town of Stony Beach, Oregon, so she can attend her aunt's funeral, settle the will, and go through everything. It's not going to be easy, though. Emily does have university obligations, including a book she's in the middle of writing. And it hasn't escaped her that her old flame, Luke Richards, is the local sheriff in Stony Beach. That's going to make things very awkward. There's also the fact that she's under pressure almost instantly to sell the property she's just inherited for development. There's just as much pressure on her not to do so. Then, Aunt Beatrice's housekeeper says that she believes her former employer was poisoned. Emily isn't sure that's true, but the housekeeper is thoroughly convinced. And if it is true, Emily wants to know who's responsible. So, very reluctantly, she contacts Luke, and the two start trying to find answers. It turns out to be much more dangerous than either of them imagined that it would be. And Emily finds herself taking on the role of sleuth, which she'd never intended or really wanted to do. So, what are the elements in this novel? What holds it together and keeps it moving? The story is told from Emily's point of view, third person, past tense. She's a literature professor, a nerdy academic. So there are several literary references, and each chapter is headed by a quote from Jane Austen. Literature fans will appreciate the links to the classics. Emily's 51 and starting to get the aches and pains that middle age bring, although she's by no means incapacitated. Readers who are tired of young, fearless superhero protagonists will appreciate that Emily is no longer 20. She misses her husband terribly and grieves him, but she's accepted the fact of his death, and she doesn't dull the pain with alcohol or drugs. The mystery itself involves uncovering some secrets that people are keeping and a web of underlying greed, tension, and danger. Finding out who killed Beatrice Runcible also means that Emily has to go back to her own past. Along the way, she and Luke start working together, and they will need to resolve the issues that they have. Readers who are wary of romance in their crime novels will want to know that there is some romance in this one. That said, though, it's woven naturally into the story and the plot, and it's interesting to see how two old flames reunite after a long time, and when neither is exactly young anymore. The novel is usually considered a cozy, and in many senses, that's what it is. There's little violence. Actually, there's more suspense than violence. And readers who prefer not to have a lot of explicitness in their novels will appreciate that really there isn't any in this novel. Still, it touches on some darker issues, and there is some real danger. There's also a sense of the seaside physical setting. It's a small town, a little off the beaten path, and the locals want it to stay that way. It may not be the wealthiest or trendiest place, but most of the residents like the town's sense of history and the local businesses that have always been there. Arsenic with Austen tells what happens when murder comes to a small town where everyone knows everyone. It takes place in a picturesque seaside town and features an academic who becomes a sleuth more or less in spite of herself. This has been In the Spotlight. I'm Margot Kinberg. Thanks for watching.